Oh my gosh, we got a new bike. Can you believe it? We are no longer riding Honda CRF250s. We moved to a KX250. We got a 2024. It's not brand new. It's new to me. I'm stoked about it. I'm going to show y'all what I do to a bike. When I first get a bike, whether it's plastics, handlebars, sprockets, chains, suspension setup, I'm going to go through everything that I do before I go to a ride to really just reset of what I found is comfortable for me as a beginner rider. And also I buy and sell a bike every year, and I'm 2 for 2 on buying and selling a bike, putting 60, 70 hours on it and reselling it for more than what I bought it for. So that's my kind of goal here for this bike as well. So I got all new parts and plastics, and we're going to get into it. So let's bring this puppy out. New bike. This is it. Just some things I am going to change. I'm going to take, obviously, all these green plastics off. This is this aftermarket exhaust I don't know what I'm going to do with. Front tire, I think, has a trail tire in, and I want to put a tube in, so I'm going to take that out. These handlebars, the back settings, and I want to move them up to the front settings. I'll clarify this, probably put a new seat cover on to preserve the seats and make this thing all black. I swapped out the exhaust. I'm at black, 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 and I wanted to show y'all this area, what I'm going to do here. All right, so we're looking at the controls. This is what we normally got. I'll show y'all where I set up my handlebars, but I'm going to move these up to just opens up the cockpit a little bit. And I'm also going to put the forks down to 3 millimeters. It's just what KEEFER setting is. Right now, they're the bike's sitting low, so I'm going to raise the front end up a little bit for me. Looking at my setup here, I moved my handlebars up forward, you can see, to pretty much open up the cockpit. I'm a little taller and just someone recommended it. I added my little foam piece in my watch as a time clock so I can see how long I'm riding. I usually set my handlebars for 2 and then I adjust them accordingly how it is. Set my clicker settings based off what KEEFER setting is, and then retorqued the forks. Obviously I said I changed my front wheel, so there's baby powder on there, but I cut off this little thing because I didn't like it dangling up. Fix the handlebars so they're even with my elbows. Next, I'm going to change the oil. First time I ever changed the oil on this. Let's see how this puppy's running today. Oh yeah, let's go. I'm gonna let this run to get the oil circulating while I get everything set up, and then I'm gonna show y'all what oil I use, see if I need to get any new parts. I took this bottom skid plate off, and there's a bolt underneath here that is just a 12. See how this oil is. Whoa! And that is why you change the oil, folks. That is dark, so that's why we always change the oil. While this runs, this is the oil filter. I'm going to take these 2 bolts off, take off the oil filter. After this finish drains, then we'll wrap this up. What's also a tip is to remember the orientation. There we go. That needs to be changed. We got the new oil filter. I know with these bolts, sometimes you don't want to tighten one all the way and then the other. It's kind of like hand in hand. This is what the oil is supposed to look like. Come on, baby, goes all the way up. This is the oil that I use. The manual says 10W30, but I've seen a lot of people use this. It's cheap. You just get it at Home Depot. It's like 15, 16 bucks. I've used it on all the bikes, never had any issues. I highly recommend it. Not too bad. Simple for the first oil change. Put this back on. It's got some oil on it. Good. All right, sweet. Oil change. Just the last things I did today, I added this hour meter. It's just a Tusk hour meter from Rocky Mountain. It's like 20, 25 bucks. It's perfect for being on top of your maintenance. Sometimes I forget. Anyways, it's super nice. You just run a wire down, wrap it around this little spark plug thing here. And I swapped out the couplers. There's black, green, and white couplers. The green one seems to be the standard. Black seems to be like mud, and white seems to be aggressive. So I just swapped it out. This one right here, swapped it out with green, the standards. We should have a pretty much full stock bike right now, and then we'll work from there. We made it to the track. Time to go through all the suspension settings. There's a couple things that I did not change because I want to keep this bike stock and then progress from there. So right now I have the stock front and rear sprocket with the chain on. So it's a 1350, and I want to say it's a 114 link chain. Stock exhaust, like I said before, and then my settings. So I put it at a KEEFER setting, and on this track there's a couple things I want to play with to figure out. For the forks, the front suspension, if I am oversteering, as in knifing, I need to make the suspension stiffer. And if I am understeering, as in pushing, I need to make the suspension softer. That's on the compression side. For the rebound side, if the track is fast, I need to speed up the rebound. If the track is slow, I need to slow down the rebound. So like, for example, at Paradise, like a sandy track with big rollers, I need to slow down the rebound. With high speed tracks, like at 10 mile, with high speed braking bumps, I need to fasten the rebound. And also, this is just what I've heard, so I'm going to play with it today. That's what I'm going to be working on. And secondly, for just a rule of thumb, for every 2 clicks on compression, I need to do 1 click on the rebound for the forks. So I can't forget that. If I want to make it a little stiffer, I got to change the rebound as well, because right now we're at a good base setting. If I do one way, I need to balance out the bike. I set the sag 103, tire pressure 12.5, so it should be a good testing point for this ride day today, and we're going to see how Kawasaki feels. Obviously, the first couple motos are going to be hard, just getting used to the bike, but we'll see how it goes, so let's get into it. All right, first ride on the 2024 KX250F. I also put a zip tie on the fork, so you can see how much travel I have. Try to give it some gas on these rollers, see how we do. Not bad. The adjustment, I made 2 clicks softer on the compression of the forks and 1 click quicker on the rebound. So let's see how it feels now. Man, the front end feels very wobbly. Go in and make it a little softer. Okay, to see a difference, I went 4 clicks softer compression and then 2 clicks faster on the rebound for this one. Let's see. I tightened up the steering stem net, dropped 2 more on the compression, made it softer, 1 on the rebound, and I did 1 click on the low speed compression on the rear shock. Okay, dropped the tire pressure, it was at like 13.1, dropped it down to 12.5. Stiffened the rebound 1 click, stiffened the low speed compression 1 click. So let's see how this one goes. That's day 1 of riding, day 1 of really testing. This was a testing day. I didn't really do many motos. It was more I'd do 2-3 laps and then go change something. One significant thing about this bike is on the Honda, I was almost maxing out the hardness of compression on the fork. So it was almost as stiff as it possibly can. On this bike, I am the complete opposite. I'm going to the far soft side of the bike. So that's just different. I'm switching the rebound. I changed the low speed compression in the rear, and that made a huge difference on exiting turns. But I'm a beginner too, so I don't know if it's the front's weird, the back's weird, or my eyes are down, my body position isn't right. There's a lot of rider error, more rider error with me than probably a lot of people. I call it a win because I left the track with a better feeling bike than what I came to the track with. All right, day 2 on the new bike. The fans of Scott Smoke, look at the freaking ribbon, baby. 59 years old and killing it. Hasn't gotten on the bike in a couple months. Standing, look at that attack position. Come on, baby. Oh, can't get it. So far, the suspension from yesterday works pretty well. It's a little drizzly and rainy today, not too bad, so hopefully I don't have to change anything. But one thing I want to work on is I'm going to switch out the coupler. So right now I'm doing the standard one. I'm going to try the black one, which is, I think, the muddy one, and then the white is aggressive. So overall, I did the first moto, went pretty well. I mean, it's an easy track, smooth track, no ruts. So stamina is still, you know, more than 10 minutes, but we're going to get into the next motos. I put the black coupler on, reset my sag. It was at like 106, 108. So it just changed from the first day. So reset it back to 103. I'll put 5 tear-offs on my goggles to practice tearing them off. Reset on that. All right, so we did all motos and all 3 couplers: standard, which is green; white, which is aggressive; and black, which is kind of a muddy type coupler. I don't know. I prefer the black one. I think I'm going to stick with the black one. I'm still having problems entering turns with the front end. It feels a little loose. My entrance speed is a lot slower than what it used to be. I need to get better at wiping off the camera, so I apologize for that, and also taking off tear-offs. I get kind of in the zone and I'm like, geez, I can't see, and kind of get this thing dialed in. So this weekend we have a completed bike ready to go race, hopefully next weekend. So for white coupler, I went a quarter turn in on the high speed compressor. See how this goes. All right, that wraps this whole video. I am really happy with how I got this bike to feel at the end of it. I'm only about a second off, but only two days riding this new bike. And again, I'm not good on riding different frames of bikes, but I like it. I really like the power. I'm not used to a regular tire. I've been riding a sand tire, and I think I'm going to stick with the black coupler. The front feels really good. I'm still going to keep on playing with the back end. But that wraps up these 2 days of testing. Next week, hopefully, we are going to go race at 10 miles. So stay tuned for that video, and I hope y'all enjoy.